doing up? Having trouble sleeping? Bad dreams. I suppose that's understandable given everything that's going on. What are they? Was it that one where you forgot your pants and you're out in public? Or was it one where your teeth are falling out? I'm sorry. You want to just talk? We don't have to talk about the dream or everything going on. We could just talk about anything. Get your mind off things. Come on. Lie down beside me. And let's get comfy. Me, of course I've had bad dreams. How do you think I know about the one with no pants and the teeth falling out? Sometimes, not that many times. My repetitive dream was, different. Yeah, it was scary. I still have it sometimes, not often. But I've had it since I was a kid. Well, it's kind of vivid. I would dream about a shadow with fire for eyes and fire for teeth. It would chase me, like just endlessly chasing me through trees that never seemed to end. Like I would be running and running and running forever. And I could almost hear it calling my name. Just in the back. Dreamy. Not quite there, but it would wake me up gasping. I would sometimes imagine that I could feel it just licking at my skin. Just little hot licks. Sometimes I would wake up screaming. Sometimes I would wake up shaking. Sometimes I would just try to sort of clench my teeth and try to force myself to stay in the nightmare, hoping that I could find some meaning to it and just make it end already. But I never did. I mean, I would wake up and I would realize, oh, well, yeah, things are stressful right now. That's why I'm having a dream. But, like, in the middle of the dream, it never worked. Yeah, it used to get worse. I mean, there wasn't a lot of stress when I was a kid. It was a pretty happy childhood. But every once in a while, you would think somebody didn't like you for whatever reason, or you would worry about having done something silly in front of somebody and feel embarrassed. Just regular stress stuff for kids. It got a little more intense when I got older, and I started proper warrior training. Like, as a kid, as an Amazon, all of your games are somewhat preparing you for that. But then around the time you're 12, you start really taking classes and doing battle trials and stuff like that. And the battle trials really, really rattled my nerves. It really shook me up. I started having those dreams again and again. And my mother was the trainer, so she noticed. I tried to dismiss it as just nerves, right? Like, because it's a dream, right? And I figured warriors all have to face their fears. It's the only way to outgrow them. But at the same time, this was a dream that I'd had all my life, and I didn't seem to be outgrowing it. It got really bad one night when we were out in the woods, all sleeping around a fire. And I was shaking when I woke up. My mother saw, and she came over to me. And she said, "You had that dream again, didn't you?" "Yeah." I just told her it wouldn't stop. And then she told me that when she was my age, she used to have those dreams too. Not quite the same, not fire, but she would dream of a great serpent in the sky that would devour the sun, and darkness would swallow everything. She came over and put my head on her shoulder, even though I was a grown warrior, or at least I thought so. And she stroked my head. And I asked her, "How did you make those dreams stop?" And she said she listened. I was like, "What, listen to the nightmares? Because mine is only saying my name. I can't get them to talk." And she says, No, I listened to the stories." And I wasn't sure what she was talking about at first. But then she reminded me of some of our legends and our myths. And she retold me the story of Eos and Nyx while we were laying by that campfire. She said long before Amazons ever roamed the land, we knew the old stories of the gods and goddesses and how they controlled everything in our lives. And our days and nights were ruled by Nyx, the night, the dream weaver. And then there was Eos of the dawn, the fire keeper. Nyx would paint the night sky with stars and would weave dreams into the minds of the mortals, whereas Eos ruled the day and brought us light and warmth and things that grew. She brought warmth to the earth and to our lives. And the story goes, one of the stories go, that they lived for many years in harmony, each one keeping balance in the world. But Nyx started to get jealous because mortals would praise Eos for her light and for her warmth and for everything that she made grow, while they feared the night, they feared the shadows. They whispered that dreams weren't anything but illusions, they were just tricks of the mind, while the sun, the dawn, gave them actual life. And so jealousy grew into rage, and Nyx wanted the power of the starfire. There was this ancient flame up in the heavens, and if she could wield that fire the way Eos did, then the mortals would worship her too, right? So she climbed the tallest mountain, and she called to the Titans. "Give me the starfire," she pleaded. "Please, let me burn as brightly as my sister." But the gods refused. And I said, "No, starfire isn't meant for your hands, Dreamweaver. It belongs to the day. It belongs to the heavens." Because at this point, Nyx was still living on the earth. But Nyx didn't want to accept that, right? So, next night, after Eos has gone to sleep and rested, Nyx crept into the sky and reached for the starfire. And the moment her hands touched it, that was it. Pain just went shooting through her. Because the fire had rejected her. It rejected her because she was made of shadows and dreams, not flame and fire and reality. and it attacked. And Eos woke up from her screaming and saw the starfire just consuming Nyx. Eos moved quickly to try to save her sister, throwing her arms around Nyx and banking out all but the scattered embers. And she was afraid that Nyx was going to die. But she didn't. She stayed in the heavens with her glowing embers as stars. I'm sure it was handy for Eos to have her where she could keep an eye on her. And I'm sure that Nyx didn't mind being far away from the humans that weren't praising her anyway. But for all of that, even now, she's still jealous. And sometimes she still reaches for the starfire, wanting what she can't have. And her touch is what causes nightmares. Her whispers are what fill us with fear, that make us doubt things that we remember during the day. But we also need to remember that Nyx has no true power. She's only darkness and only a dream, only a thought. And darkness can be chased away with light, and thoughts can be chased away with other thoughts. So I asked my mother, does that mean that if I fight the nightmares, I can win? And she said yes, because as strong as any warrior may be, their thoughts and their beliefs are stronger. So the next night, the dream came again. The fire and the shadows and the whispering of my name. But this time I had learned something during the day that I still knew in my dream. And I stopped and I faced the shadow. And I said, I'm not afraid of you, Nyx. And the shadow stopped short and looked as surprised as a shadow can look, and asked, what are you? And I wanted to answer, I am an Amazon. I am brave. But when I opened my mouth to speak, I said, I am real. And you are a story, a thought. And thoughts can only affect reality if we permit them to. And I do not permit you to affect me. And the fire faded. And I woke up and it was dawn. And I was braver than I had been. Not just in the case of that dream, but in general. I stopped being afraid of things that weren't real. Half of the things that scared me were things that might never happen. They were certainly things that weren't at my doorstep. Most of the fear that I felt was over things that never came to pass. They were just things I was thinking about that could happen. Even if I knew they were unlikely, the thinking about them made me afraid. And so I decided to stop being afraid of things that weren't in immediate danger, that weren't real. I stopped being afraid of things that I was only thinking of. I was still at an age where it would hurt deeply if my friends laughed at me. And I used to spend a lot of time worrying about whether or not I was about to do something that would make them laugh at me. But they weren't laughing. They hadn't laughed. It was silly to worry about it or be afraid of it when it wasn't there. So I stopped letting those fears that were only thoughts in my head affect the way I behaved. I stopped letting it dictate what I did and what I didn't do. I would just push the fear to the side the same way I did when it was time to jump from a high cliff into the water or face an opponent in battle that was twice my size and far more skilled. Because it was only by doing those things that I was going to stop that fear from popping up, so that I didn't have to push it to the side at all. Eventually I realized that fear had been a habit, that by dwelling on it, I was strengthening it. But by turning away from it, forcing myself to think of other things, by acknowledging it, and then looking away from it effectively, that I was starving it of the attention that it needs to survive. And then I learned that just as fear can be a habit, so can being brave. Acknowledge the fear, and then decide that it won't dictate your behavior. You've already done that. You've done that lots of times. That's why we're here today. It's because you're fully capable of it. So you know how to do it. Now it's just a matter of deciding which habit you're going to cultivate. And I'm certain I know which one you'll choose. And on that note, are you ready for bed? Because I am sleepy again. Yeah, I have been sleepy the whole time, but I'm like super sleepy now. Alright. Good night. Sweet dreams. And I will see you again with the dawn. Hey there, cupcakes. I hope you all enjoyed that. I am enjoying this character. I like the idea of sort of keeping her going a little bit as little one-off slice of life sort of stories where I can explore ideas about this whole, my version of what the Amazon warriors might be like in a contemporary society. Anyway, thank you all very much. Thank you, everyone who has already joined my new Whispery History ASMR channel without even having a single video up there yet. But Monday, 10 a.m. Pacific, I will be having a watch party where I will be live chatting if it will allow me. I think it will. And if not, if you're a Patreon member of me or any member of the Spice Rack, you are automatically added to the Spice Rack Discord, and I'm going to be live voice chatting there as we all watch. So I hope you will join me for that, and I look forward to seeing you there one way or another. Right? No pressure. Be there. Come on, it's going to be a party. Everyone's invited. All the cool kids are doing it. And thank you all so very much for your support. You've all been so enthusiastic and kind. Also, one person who I hope will be there, my newest patron, Small Jazz. And, of course, all of those Baker and Pound Cake tier level supporters who make it so that I could do this every day. There's Pack 3424 and Deanster, Mike D, Flaws, Curro, Semblance of Life, Sarcastic Monkey, Ang, Charles Triple Wheaton, Luke Curator, Lemonic Cultist, Bowman, Alton Goodbottle, Techo, Gunner's Mage, Mushan Your Audio, Best Friend, Owlface, Tomas Rogers, William Gungrave, Nosti, Barry Wilburn, Esteed, SLE Photo, Harper Evolution, Wolf9004, Malice Silo, Bunny, Miral, Mr. Rickles, Anin, Darth Mythis, Red Death 48, Always Able, Old Bean UK, Kalu Bear, The Swaggy Llama, Art Low, Pierce Tailish, and Christian Cleopa'a. And, of course, I hope that all of you will be as good to yourselves as you are to me, and I will talk to you soon.